Rebuilding attraction in a relationship is a delicate process, and it's not about sitting down and having a nice conversation, the two of you, and working things out. It's about the way that you show up in the relationship and the way that the dynamic between the two of you changes. And if you approach it the wrong way, you actually can make things worse. But if this is the situation you're in, first of all, you should know that it's a more common situation than you might think, and the fact that you've identified it and you're looking for a way through puts you ahead of most people. This process that I'm going to teach you in this video works. It's not some quick fix. It takes a bit of time and effort, but it is effective for bringing that attraction back up. And if you're still figuring out, if you're dealing with a drop in attraction, I'll link the other videos in this series below. My name's Max, and I help men to understand, build, and maintain attraction so that they can have the types of relationships that they really want. Let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is take an honest look at yourself through the lens of what I call the caveman traits. And I've got a dedicated video on those, so I'll link it below. But the short version is that a woman's attraction is fundamentally rooted in a desire to find a man that can protect, provide, lead, influence, and produce healthy offspring. Okay, so those are the categories. And when you look at yourself through that lens, the question to ask is, what are the highest impact improvements that I could make in the next 3 to 6 months? And that could be anything from your fitness and your style if you wanted to improve your look. You could learn a new skill, you could learn an instrument, you could learn to fight, you could put some more effort into your career, you could take some kind of course so you can earn more money. Whatever the improvement is, it needs to be something that is meaningful to you. And once you've identified those areas to improve on, you want to schedule some time over the next 3 to 6 months to improve on those things. Now, here's the important thing to understand about this process, and I think this is the part that most people might miss. You don't need to fully transform in 3 to 6 months or whatever period you've chosen. That's not quite what this is about. What you're aiming for is any observable improvement and to sustain that improvement long enough that it looks permanent. And what that demonstrates is a change in your trajectory as a man. And trajectory is another powerful thing that women use to judge a man's attractiveness. So women don't just look at who you are now, they also look at who you're going to be and where you're going to be. And so if you think of your trajectory as a man as a plane flying in a straight line, if that plane changes direction by a couple of degrees, it's going to land miles away from where it would have landed before. And so you just need to demonstrate that you've shifted your direction even slightly to demonstrate a significant change in your trajectory as a man, and she will pick up on that. So the next thing you want to do is to start putting time into making those improvements. And as you put more time into yourself during this period, something else is going to happen naturally, and that's that you're going to have a little bit less time to spend with her. And right now, that's not a bad thing. The relationship could probably use a bit of time to breathe, but it may well produce a bit of pushback, and so it's worth being prepared for that. So the reason she might push back is because if she's not feeling particularly attracted to you, then what she's getting out of the relationship is largely your time and attention. And if that starts to reduce, she may feel that quite acutely. So at that point, she might tell you you're neglecting the relationship or that you don't care anymore. And here's what you need to remember in that moment. You're doing this for her and for the relationship as much as you are for yourself. If your heart is in the right place and the improvements that you're trying to make are meaningful, then there's really no arguing against what you're doing. You can't tell someone in a relationship that they're not allowed to grow, right? So you can just calmly say something like, I'm not going anywhere, I still care about you, I just want to be the best version of myself that I can be, and I think you would want that for me too. What you don't want is for this to come across as malicious or spiteful or like you've checked out of the relationship, because if attraction is low and she starts to feel like you don't care, you've now handed her a perfect combination of reasons to leave. So your intention and your attitude towards all of this really matters. So you need to do it with love and care and make sure your heart is in the right place. So during this period, you'll be seeing her a little less, but the time you do spend together needs to become significantly better quality. So you want to start treating it more like you're dating again. You're well dressed, you've got some aftershave on, you're present, and you're trying to make that time as meaningful and as fun as possible. You're not just, falling onto the sofa at the end of the day together saying, what should we watch on Netflix? Now, during this quality time, there are two things you want to be gradually reintroducing. The first is leadership, and the second is novelty. So leadership is what gives her the feeling that you're the man and she's the woman, basically. And when it's done well, she shouldn't really have to use her brain. So a good rule of thumb is the better you're leading, the less she has to think. It's important that when you plan an activity, make sure you choose something that you know she's going to enjoy. Don't say, we're going to go see Expendables 5 at the cinema, you're going to love it. Choose something that she's going to really like and then lead her through that experience. And that takes preparation a lot of the time. You need to know where you're going. You need to know the steps you're going to actually walk her through. You need to think about the logistics, where you're going to park. If possible, you need to know, where can I park? If I can't park there, have a backup plan for things. Basically, the smoother that things go while under your lead, the more that she'll relax. And while you do that, you give her a positive experience, but you also demonstrate tons of positive qualities about yourself. So the next thing, novelty, this matters simply because when you do the same things on repeat, they get boring, right? And that's just a fact of life. So when you do spend that quality focused time together, you want to make sure that you're trying to at least change details of what you're doing. You might not be able to change the activity every time and do something completely different. Logistically, that can get difficult and expensive. So you got to have realistic expectations for this. But you can at least be changing. Let's say if you like to go to restaurants, you could try a new type of food. And so this will just help things to feel more fresh and for the two of you to have more fun and have more to talk about. And now the final stage of this process is how you show up in the bedroom. So sex obviously is the expression of your attraction for each other, and it's the expression of your masculinity and femininity in a lot of ways as well. And depending on how far her attraction has fallen, it's possible that you haven't been sleeping together for a while or not much. And that's okay. If you do this process right, that will change. And when it does, you want that experience to be as good as possible. You want it to be as good as the quality time that you've been spending together. So the same principles apply here as well. You want to gradually reintroduce novelty and gradually reintroduce leadership. Now, there are entire YouTube channels dedicated to this side of things, so I'll leave the details to them. But the idea is always be putting in the effort to make it a good experience and use novelty to keep her on her toes a little bit. If you do all of this right, you're stacking tons of positive outcomes all at once. So you're becoming more attractive on paper. You're becoming more confident because your attractiveness has gone up. The time that you spend together feels more meaningful and more fun. It starts to be associated with this feeling of leadership. You demonstrate a positive shift in trajectory for yourself as a man, but also for the relationship as a whole. And the sex gets better all at the same time. So you're doing a ton of amazing things all at once. And if she kind of challenges you along the way, it gives you an opportunity to demonstrate that you can actually stand your ground. And that's not a reason to go picking fights. If she doesn't resist the process, it's actually a really good sign. But it's a side effect of the process that can actually work in your favor. So to sum up, you're assessing yourself honestly and identifying the highest impact improvements you can make. You're scheduling real time to make those improvements. You're deliberately choosing focused time to spend with her and showing up to that time as your best self with a plan. You're leading her through the experience and you're making the experience novel where possible. You're sustaining the improvements that you've made to yourself long enough that she can see that they're permanent, so that she can see that your trajectory as a man has improved. And if you do all of this from a place of love for yourself and for her, and you hold firm through any little arguments or resistance along the way, I promise you, attraction will begin to improve. If you'd like some personalized help on the specific details of your situation, the areas that you should improve, how to do that, support along the whole process, there's a link in the description where you can book a free call with me and we can go over that together. Otherwise, thanks for watching, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.